So this video is going to be about a dungeon that I've designed for an MMO. It's based on a cartoon show I've been working on for the past couple of years, and I'm doing it in the theme of the good old dungeons of old, specifically the old Warcraft dungeons. And one of the things I'm going to be focusing on is a more slow dungeon, a dungeon that focuses on player experience, and I'm going to actually start it off with a story to kind of give you some of the back history, so enjoy. I should probably say that I am not an artist by any means. I'm definitely just a writer / game designer. So please excuse my MS Paint drawings, but they were made with heart, as best as I could. So here goes the story. Once there was a village in the north called Eralza. They had no major exports and weren't very creative. They lived out their day-to-day lives without much to do. Despite their meager existence, they were hated by creatures who lived deep beneath the city, the Grolmites. For years, the Grolmites lived off the garbage that was constantly dumped down a hole by the townspeople, and despite their best efforts, became weaker and weaker. It wasn't until a mining Grolmite by the name of Harrier decided that enough was enough. He and his crew would dig underneath Eralza and cause it to collapse. Then the Grolmites would use the farmland to plant crops, to bathe in real streams, and to live a good life. The Grolmites rallied behind Harrier, and he quickly got to work. Half a year later, they caused an explosion that sent Eralza to fall deep within a sinkhole. The Grolmites finished off those who remained. 2 years went by, and no one had cared to wonder what fate had befallen Eralza until Fenrir, the Carverkin, came across the giant sinkhole and saw the Grolmites working the fields. He was wanting to harvest the trees in the mountains, but instead, Fenrir went to the guild capital and explained what he had seen. Disgusted by their own lack of action, the guild council sent an envoy with Fenrir, along with the player, to see what remained of the Eralzan people. So now that you know the story, we're going to do a quick run-through of the dungeon and look at it from the more artistic standpoint, because despite my amazing Unreal Editor skills, it is just a bit lacking. So this first part is what the Grolmite Caverns used to look like. They haven't quite reached this part. It's dark, it's dank, it's a little bit miserable, it's creepy. They haunt the halls, essentially, and they haven't quite gotten here yet. And again, just moving through the dungeon and really elaborating on how it feels to be a Grolmite by the time you get to the first boss, where things start to change a little bit. You can see the bosses in this map by the cones that I have scattered about. And we have the bigger rooms here, so this is more of a spherical room, which cuts to a long hallway, which will allow for players to maneuver and control the groups a little bit better so they just don't get swamped. And you can approach everything by playing smart. By this part, the Grolmites have started to change everything and use the architecture left over from the Eralzans. For example, this staircase is actually made from ramshackle roofs that the Grolmites have found just using all the different architecture from the Eralzan village. So, Munchie has a giant platform so that you can run around, and in the walls are just countless artifacts. Because, again, the bugs had no idea what they were doing. They just thought it looked cool, so they put it there. Doors, windows, walls, it doesn't matter. This is, again, a hallway that opens up to a more open area, so you can see just how much trash the Grolmites have found. We have the different pieces of lore, which I'll get to a little bit later. By the time we reach here, this is where the palace guards are, and this is where the awe-inspiring insanity of the Grolmites really comes to a head, where we see everything in their terrible, terrible glory, just the sheer amount of things that they've butchered. And so now we're going to run through and see what these enemies actually do. So here we have our Grolmites, which is what I consider a common enemy. With medium HP and a light attack, they have one ability, which is called Huff and Puff, which gets them agitated, which causes them to attack faster. They sometimes drop trash, but they're mostly just there for killing. The next enemy is the Grolmite Skull Crusher. He deals a lot of damage and has the same HP as a mini-boss, but he's rather slow. His main ability is called Skull Crush, which causes him to charge a player, and after a few moments, he'll slam down his fists, which deal massive amounts of damage and stun everybody around him for a few moments. Then he just goes back to whoever's tank. Next, we have the Gromite Caster, who's probably my personal favorite. He found some pants, put them on his head, and he found a book in the wreckage that was full of spells, and he's trying to do his best with them. He has medium HP and about medium attack power. His abilities are that he'll always focus the player farthest away from them, and he'll attack him with one of two spells, which is Misunderstood Polymorph, which turns a target into a cockroach, and then hurts the target after 3 seconds, which then breaks said polymorph. And then the other one is called Frostfire Dirt Ball, which shoots a brown, red, and blue lump of energy that does one of 3 things, which is it either slows, burns, or stuns for a few seconds. Again, an awesome enemy. So the next baddie on the list is Gromite Thumper. He's a big old bug that has a lot of AoE attacks that will bump people backwards. He's got high attack and high HP. And what he'll do is that he'll smack the person closest to him and just keep pushing him back. When he's about to die, he'll start thumping onto the ground and do a lot of AoE damage, so you have to get him down quick. So the first boss is Brolgosh the Shielded. He sits in the corner, covering himself with 2 shields. You must DPS down the shields, because after a little bit, he will charge forth and get all angry, and he'll start attacking, doing a lot of damage. After a bit, he'll run back to his corner, and then he'll cover himself up. Now, once one of his shields are broken, he will just keep attacking, so it's advantageous to just keep lightly damaging his shields to coax him out, so you can DPS him down. If you break both shields, he'll hit really hard, but reward extra goodies. So he has the HP of a boss, and his attack is about me. So the second boss we have is Munchie the Devourer. And Munchie's a big fat bloated Gromite who will chase and eat whoever is farthest away from him. And in order to get them out, he has to be popped. Now, the twist on him is while most enemies require a certain amount of HP that you could just burn down to beat him, Munchie's different in that he has a set amount of times he needs to be physically hit. So while everyone's running around and he's chasing people and eating people, everyone, including the casters, the healers, everybody needs to be smacking him so he can pop. So the third boss is Grokdarok, who's a massive Gromite that must be fought with caution. Tanks pull him to one side of the room, then after a bit, Grokdarok will run to the middle and begin to shake the whole cavern. He'll cause a cave-in where he was just tanked. That is instant kill. So you must run to the other side of the hallway, all the while dodging falling rocks that stun you if you get hit. He's got the HP of a boss, but in the higher tier, and he hits. So now you've made it. You've fought Munchie. You've beaten Grokdarok. You've been polymorphed into a cockroach a bunch of times. Now you are about to face the Underking, and must face his royal guards first. They attack fast, they hit hard, and it keeps you on your toes to get you ready for the difficult final boss. Congratulations on reaching the Underking. He is surrounded by human treasures, and he meets his challengers with rage. He's a boss fight in 3 phases. The first phase is where the Underking will swipe at players while he's tanked. At 70% of health, he goes to phase 2. Once he goes to phase 2, the Underking calls out and has all the Gromites come down the ramp to attack the party. This will continue until the Underking reaches 30%. So the Gromites will just keep spawning and running down, I haven't decided if it would actually be more fun to have a variety of Gromites or just have normal Gromites, but that's something that can't really be determined until playtesting. Phase 3 is when the Underking will enrage and he'll start hitting far harder than before. The Gromites will stop coming, and the Underking will start actually throwing his treasure at the group. And if a player is hit by the treasure, it stuns him. And if stunned, the Underking will focus them and hit them down in one shot. So everybody must keep moving around the room until the Underking falls. And that would be the end of the dungeon. So when I design dungeons, I kind of approach it from 3 different perspectives, which are 3 different gaming demographics I think exist. And I try to do something for each of them to make them feel involved and to keep them having a good time. The first one is for the lore masters, and the lore masters will spend hours researching every little bit about the game. They will read every quest, they will read every book, they will completely immerse themselves in your world. Then we have the individuals who love to play with headphones on. They just came home from work, they got some chill music in the background, and they're just having a good time, relaxing, playing your game. Then you have the third one, which is where I kind of fit in, which is I still haven't quite figured out a term for them, but they're just essentially the players. They play the game, they enjoy it. They're not going to be 110% in, but they're there to have a good time. They're there to be entertained, and they're kind of the mix between the two. Now, this diary is literally exclusively for the lore masters or anyone who decides to check it out, and it tells the story of a little girl who was living in Eralza, who gets a doll from her mom. Now, the rewarding part of this, in my head, is that if you look at the Underking's model, you will see on his crown a little doll, and that doll is the one that she got. And it's just using that environmental storytelling, in a way, to really kind of bring the drama to the front, which really rewards the lore masters, and maybe will intrigue the guy with headphones on, and will definitely pique the interest of the normal players. So I will read out the diary entry real quick, just to give you an idea of what I have. So the first one, it reads like this. Mother left today to go on another trip to the Guild City. I cried myself to sleep. I overheard Grumble talking near my window, saying that there had been a gruesome attack up and down the road, and that my mother would surely die. I hate Grumble so much. The entry number 2 goes, my mother returned alive! I grabbed her so hard she fell over, and we laughed together. She gave me a doll she picked up from one of the Spinneret craftswomen, and it looks just like me. My little twin. I love it. I'm so happy. Diary number 3. At night, I clutch my little twin. There are noises deep below the earth. I told my mother, and she told me not to worry about it. The Grolmites were peaceful, and it was just that time of year. For the first time, I don't believe her. And then the entry number 4. Whoever finds this journal, know that my daughter was a beautiful being, as radiant as the stars. Damn the Grolmites. Damn them all. Curse the Underking. Curse him. So if you stayed to the end, I want to say thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you have any questions, you can contact me at heywrites@gmail.com, and thank you very much.